want to help the facility. We supported sister for hands-on training in Germany was set by that teaching. So what are some of the challenges? Most of them have been clearly been outlined by the director of acting director of administration. I will not belabor some of them, but overaging of our equipment, high institutional maternal and neonatal mortality. That one we want to intensify clinical outreach, especially leadership programs. So we noted that most of these cases were coming in late. So by virtue of the fact they were coming late, there was very little we can do. So now I want to go to these facilities and undertake mentorship training at these facilities so that you don't wait for the cases to come in late. You don't refer them to us very late. So that the extent of mentorship and also delay overage prevent by yeah. Still on the challenges. There's difficulty in the payment of 13 months salary. I'm saying that because that's what interests me. So if you have yourself in management, you realize the challenge. That's want to continue to learn on management to be able to fill this kind of application service for us. Even though the discussion, we want to control the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Health to absorb it so that it reduces the burden of executing these payments. So 2025 outlook, I think this was also is down to the financial administration. I won't believe. Yeah. So in a nutshell, we want to improve on our recovery rates and intensive care units. We want to reduce the stillbirth and also overall mortality rates in the facility. That basic life support training for our emergency staff, and then also expand neurological services with a focus on the established stroke units. Yes, we want to obtain continual professional development for our mental training programs and also organize in-service training for 50% of nurses on wound care, infection prevention, and customer care. And also initiate process of accreditation for the ophthalmology units through the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons. We want to acknowledge the Ministry of Health, no, moving on, we are inviting our Minister of Finance, Mr. Freeman Komlado. Joe. We'll proceed to introduction. We'll move from there. We are going to involve as I've been doing 24. And I would like to inform you that 2024 we're still operating under new houses. So all our budgets were stand with them. And it became a composite budget. So we were not going to as an institution. There's very complete budget in the presence of parliamentary committee on health. We will defend our budget successfully. How reason you will be able to present our budget as a formal What we are going to do here is that let you see how we perform under various review. And you should also know that under that expense, process is out. Take IGF. We're not getting any money from anyone. The IGF that we generate. So this is how our IGF in the year 2020. You can see that 2024 we improved from 9 million to 12 million in the tax. And for the service, we moved from 16 million to 24 million. Total of 25.7 million, 99 million under the year 2024. This is how revenues have been featured. Under the cash and carry, our revenues and corporates. Corporate are those institutions like a Bank of Ghana, BRA, they also come and render service to them. Then we have our NHIS and the cash and. So the total revenue that we saw there is how the analysis in terms of cash, NHIS, and corporate. And you can see that cash and carry that's the other. Now, to what time is it okay? Now, the year 2024, we did it. I think the 2024 we have. It should have very, 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 like, very, very, in terms of our services. We have a chairman saying that as per the presentation, we are doing very, very, very well. And it's so glad for the problem. So this is the revenue. The revenue that is that given the money. I think the medical is there, followed by dental, and then pediatrics. We talk about the house and dining. Is a very, very, this is stretching us. The friend they are this is there. House and dining is there. Medical is there. Yes, you know, we're all happy. The graph showing our performance from here. And then we come to the early giants of buildings and stuff. That is where the only money is this way. In 2024, graphs were able to present 3,000 and then approved was 2,242. And our about 95,052 was rejected. Our emphasis is on the rejected claims. That's where the issue comes. Our claims, we have to watch the rejected rates. About 5%. There was an intervention that we have divided them for just place unit. They took that through a whole lot of meetings and yeah. That all that has resulted in the whole thing. So went there. So we have to care for ourselves. And we have to feed the very good chance for our students or that have opportunity to find the things for us. The data for 2024. We proceed to our income statement or some of the most let's see. Things are also yes. So you have another position. You have a network of checking out this is one stop. You want to go to the a lot in the yeah, our network right show you that the growing content of every thing. Thank you very much for listening. Events. Every frequency of when money to pay people. When we use money to pay some of our needs. Money, if money is in our hand, what we can easily pay. So like stop. Yes, yes, we drive. When let's money go back. That's what it's saying. We are also collaborating with others to kind of what we do and then government change. That's something that you work and we hope that I'm losing from now and forevermore. We are also to secure sharing tariffs for the teaching hospital land. So this 2025, we are having teaching hospital and transportation tariffs. 2024, the regional hospital and secondary tariffs. And now we have moved to tertiary tariffs. So we are expecting that our revenue growth increase in the 2025. Challenges. Always the challenges are rising cost of gas and the prices are going up. Utilities, maintenance of equipment, and then people our equipments are very full. We have to revamp all of them. The generators, the sewage that we want to revamp. And money and money to that. Now with the help of instead of what I want on my hand, we will come with the dishes. And we are hoping that this year, if we move to the teaching hospital and we all come together to do the work, the revenue and we'll do more and more. And then our name will remain in the what? Book of what? Tsunami teaching hospital. Also, the high amount of salary and what we are giving them. I'm just looking at money. If you take it from who did it by the get a date to get first. That's what we need. Because in the next store. Then you can start. Uh-huh. Very hard. You come one month, you come one month, you got the salary. Not. Another challenge is the utility cost, which are not factored into the health insurance bill as a result. When water waste and then the yeah come and threaten us that our lives. Sometimes they disconnect us, you know, very things. So suggest them I can't help every day. Also, like I think you want it will help us. We continue to engage them to for financial channel to absorb our cultural staff. If they are if our cultural staff we are able to release from that expense. We are also but we are allocating 5% money energy refund for equipment that's for retraining and the maintenance of equipment. It is what CEOs CEOs will propose something anytime energy has been we allocated them. That I will equipment and giving their own access. It's a very good suggestion and basically people go back. You want to work on the bottom one is into that our also take on the not perfect. We are not preparing for this playground. Very hard. So this is a very initiative that you have got up. You have to come in for that. So our outlook from 2027. We want that to projecting money from
45 million from 37 million to 49 million in the year. The reason being that now that money is observed, we are expecting our revenue. And then as per the budget that we sent for, this is what we goes to them. And they have approved it. And so we are expecting that we'll be able to make that. So we are going to explore more options, public-private partnership for acquisition and repair of equipment, building and other. I think that is that's why. So, that is what I come you should do. Thank you very much.
Say the hospital's lab has embarked on this commitment to this mandate of research. I think I will do my acknowledgements before I start the presentation so that I won't skip long. So, as a quick background, I think about 4 years ago, the hospital as the director of administration mentioned, there was a partnership with Pfizer on research on antimicrobial resistance, and that helped us, the hospital and the laboratory, to generate a lot of data that we can work on or study as a pattern to know the picture of antimicrobial resistance in the hospital. So we acknowledge Pfizer and Micron, and also acknowledge our CEO. Our CEO, in fact, was supportive, assisted, and supported the whole project, assisted in every aspect. In fact, he's truly a general. We want to thank you so much, CEO, for that support. And once we started as a laboratory to want to do a lot of research and work on our data, every time he supports us, and we want to say thank you so much. I can't forget the management team. In fact, our directors have been so helpful to us as a team and as a laboratory, and we can't take their help for granted. Let me acknowledge also the kind of laboratory staff BMC, Mr. George also from his level who has seen all the works we do. In fact, he has been very supportive on participating on his behalf as the head of laboratory. And I also would quick lastly to acknowledge our regional biomedical scientist, Ghana Health Service, since he's here for his invaluable inputs in all the we have done. George Kumaku. All right, so I won't bore you with much to. So I'm looking at a general overview
isolates from urinary tract infections and their antibiotic susceptibility pattern in the Sunyani Teaching Hospital. My name is Charles Asawina. I'm the laboratory scientist in the laboratory. Right, so this is the outline. We can move on. So, as a way of introduction, we know urinary tract infections are a significant public health issue. That currently has a high incidence rate and increasing antimicrobial resistance. And UTIs, we know, UTIs, as we know, are commonly encountered in both community and hospital settings, particularly in the sub-Saharan Africa. In Ghana, a lot of studies have been done which have established that enterobacteria, mostly gram-negative bacilli organisms, are the most predominant cause of UTIs, with E. coli or Escherichia coli being the most dominant pathogen which causes UTIs. And researchers have also established these organisms have a high resistance rate to the first line of antibiotics such as ciprofloxacin and ceftriaxone. And let me be quick to add that antimicrobial resistance is also becoming global health threats. And the WHO has said that by the year 2020, this data will help in guiding empirical antibiotic therapy, help us in implementing effective IPC measures, and also help us reduce public health burden of resistant infections. As a lot of studies have been done, research have been done in this particular areas, studies have established that UTI organisms or pathogens are growing resistance against the antibiotics that are recommended in Ghana's standard treatment guidelines. So we think that this is the case, then it's important we study into it.
And their resistant patterns in our hospital and then community. And also, the findings will help us inform local antibiotic prescribing practices, ensuring that clinicians are able to choose the most effective treatment for that are based on current resistant data. Then the data we also hope, or the work we also hope will contribute to the efforts that are ongoing to curb antimicrobial resistance nationally. As our objective, the third was to determine the definition of pathogens causing UTIs and given our practice between the year 2024. That is basically when we specifically looked at the most common detected in our culture and then determine the ESP patterns. Focusing on the resistance against the user saying that most is effect of UTIs. As we did a respective study, and then we collected data from laboratory records of urine culture and sensitivity tests performed between 2022 and 2024. We reviewed laboratory. We included all urine cultures from patients with, yes, we excluded contaminated cultures, duplicate, and patients above 50 years were the most predominant, or they were many, followed closely by between 20 to 30 years, and then also the pediatrics. And of course, we have less than 1 year accounting for the least number. Of all, we studied 741 cases. Out of these 741 cases, we had a positive yield of 41.8
that is 300. E. coli is also topping the chart, just like that's been mentioned in other studies. So these are the percentages of the isolates or the organisms to be isolated from the urine samples. Now, the most interesting aspect is this table, which gives us the antimicrobial susceptibility pattern of these isolates against specific antibiotics, right? So you realize that this column shows the number. This is the number of isolates we tested against each antibiotic. Then this column is the number of the isolates that were susceptible or sensitive to the antimicrobial agent. And then this column is the number the results we displayed. What we have realized is that in Sunyani Teaching Hospital, there is a high yield rate of UTI positive cases, right? So we are saying that what it means is that there is the need for an enhanced IPC practices and increased public education. That what we couldn't distinguish from this data is the number of the cases that are community acquired and hospital acquired. So we can't outrightly say that if you are going to look at IPC practices or public health education, is it going to be hospital-based or community-based? But I think that in future study, that clinicians would not want to use them as first line to treat their patients. But of course, it also boils down to the fact of working with a larger sample of data, and also doing a multi-center study, doing a lot of study to be able to establish the fact that indeed these antibiotics should be considered suitable for the treatment of UTIs. And we also said that since levofloxacin shows a higher sensitivity as compared to Cipro, it may be considered as a better choice among the fluoroquinolones. Now, you realize that a lot of studies are divided in whether levo should be the best choice or Cipro should be the best choice. But you realize that although a lot of studies will say that and also do a that can be generalized across board. So these are our references. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. We'd like to thank all our presenters. Now we'll open the floor for a few questions because of time. We'll take 5 questions at a time. We'll take only 5 questions, please.
That's been a very impressive presentation. And congratulations once again to Sunyani Teaching Hospital. Mine is not a question, but I remember 2023, during the ministry performance review, the General Health Service the Teaching Hospital's presentation, which brought out the issue of high maternal mortality across all the teaching hospitals. At that time, Sunyani was not part. And so it means that this year we're going to add Sunyani. So I was very impressed to see that the maternal mortality for Sunyani was 5. Yeah, so that will begin to will be a beginning of Teaching Hospital's success story. When we get the house of their presentation, that recorded maternal mortality across all the regions in Ghana. were all from the teaching hospitals, which means that even though Sunyani is doing well, we have to collectively put in strategies in place so that across the teaching hospitals, we all begin to record some reduction. If not, it will still show at the national level that we are all still not doing well. That's the unfortunate truth. And one of the common language that teaching hospitals always use is late referrals. It gets to a point where you are not able to use that as an excuse anymore because the figure is staring you in the face over the years. And I remember during the 2023 presentation, again, during the discussion, the WHO lead point out the concern as to why so much money is still being pumped into reduction of maternal and neonatal mortality, and yet the figures are not reflecting that, which means that we still have a long way to go. So the late referral can no longer be the number one excuse that we give at the national level. We have to now begin to look at, out of the audits that we've done, how many of them have we implemented? So sometimes there can be a reduction and it might not be due to your making. It just happened that the cases did not come and then you didn't record. It can also be that there are internal issues that need to be resolved as opposed to mentorship. There was a time Cape Coast Teaching Hospital realized that even though there were some reduction, and so let's not put too much, the mentorship is important, and I would recommend that a system is put in place to track the mentorship, because from PPME perspective, we would all just record, oh, mentorship is being done, but when you want data, you are not able to get a tracked data as to how many facilities mentorship has been done, how many are the beneficiaries, how many health professionals went for those mentorship, because money goes with mentorship. And so we have to put in a system to track that. And that's what I want to say. The last one, I'm not sure I heard the finance director did a very good presentation, and I like the enthusiasm. I'm not sure I heard you mention vividly the issue about 13 months payments, because it's a general. It's a very big concern across all the teaching hospitals. And I remember when Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, we had our performance review. It was one of the things all the teaching hospital CEOs discussed, that it's something that the ministry has to be brought in and negotiation done so that they really look at that for us, because it's causing a lot of burden on the institution. So that's why I was looking forward to see it as one of the challenges. And so if you've not added it to the report that we'll be doing for the joint teaching hospitals, please, it should be added so that we can all have a united front when we are doing the presentation at the ministry level for the minister to pay some attention to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Princess. The next question, please.
It's not working.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. I wish to first of all commend all the people who presented. I think so. I'm a finance person, so I'm a little finance biased. Let me do the finance part before I come to the other part. I see the targets for this coming year to be 31%, and you say you want to move. I think the prior year was around 20-something, and you want to move to like 40-something. And it's a very lofty, it's a very good, very difficult target to achieve. We're talking from experience. I was trying to link what I saw in the clinical presentation, because it must flow from there to the finance. And if it doesn't flow that way, I bring this up because, you see, when you do the budget in a certain way, you're going to do the expenditure to match the revenue. And if you do not achieve the regular revenue, you'll be in trouble. So I just want to bring that up. And I'm saying this because I see that Suyani said, I think I heard it that you are coming to now start using tertiary tariffs. And in the mechanics for achieving tertiary tariffs is very different from what you do at the secondary level. And if you don't set your gatekeeper system well, there are going to be challenges. And if you will be surprised that if it's not done well, you would even have less than secondary tariff if it's not done well. So we need to look at that. Your gatekeeper system needs to be properly put in place if you're going to achieve what I say is a very difficult target. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But it's doable. Anything can be done. Okay, yes, so, but we are there to support. I think if there's any process. But, well, we are there to support. At least there's some experience around that area. Again, I see that the cash and carry is more than the NHIE. It is a target everybody wants. Everybody wants to be in that region. But on the back of not having a lot of specialist services and those kind of things, what it's telling me is that it's probable that you're getting your cash and carry more from people who are in, because the bulk of your clients are NHIE clients. So that means it is services, probably there are services that NHIE clients that are not covered by NHIE. I bring this up because you know the new minister is they are now going with the POP system. So when you have the POP system in place, when people will say that, you may have some challenges with the cash and carry too. So we need to look at that. I think we need to drive it more by more specialist services coming on board. That's that with the cash and carry. I'm a little, I think this is from the clinical presentation. So I think it came up that most of your revenue, which makes sense, should be coming from OPD. And then it is strange that, if I didn't get this well, maybe it can be corrected. I think I saw like surgery, like being the leading. So I'm looking not surgeries, but surgery subject. So I'm assuming it is probably inpatient, outpatient. And well, it's a little strange because when we know that most of the cases you're going to be seeing should be medical. So I'm wondering why internal, so a question is, why should your internal medicine specialist services reduce from the prior year? I was a little, maybe there's some clarity that I'm giving on that because I saw that it reduced. So maybe if that can be answered. And then I saw again that, okay, let me wrap up. I think I'm asking too much questions. But I think they were just general comments. Most of them are comments. They are comments. So let me wrap up. So this I shouldn't talk again. So Paul is warning me that we are from home, so we shouldn't talk too much. So okay, so then I saw something in one of the presentations. I'm director of admin. I saw your spend on what's it called? Drugs reduced from the prior year. And your number, so it's like your cases are increasing and then your spend on medicine is reducing. I would probably, if there could be some clarity on that. I've been told to cease fire, so I'm sitting down. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity as well. I also have some few issues to put across. Look at the OPD attendance. You drop roughly within 15 to 20%. Your death has increased roughly within that 20%. So on the face on the pay sheet, we can attribute that to pressure coming from referrals. But let's wait a little bit. On a technical basis, I disagree with that. Because you are looking at your average level of stay with a variance of 3.4, which means you are looking at 5 or 6 days. Then your bed turnover rate also within that 6.4. So the question we should be asking is, if these people stay within the facility 5-6 days, there are only 2 windows. Either you are discharging this client home or you are discharging them to the morgue. Is that not it? Yes. So if more of these clients are going to the morgue than going home, then there is a question mark. Then we must look at the quality of care that we are giving. These two indicators are the most valuable indicators that we use to judge our quality of care. Then secondly, we must also look at the referral system. What sort of referral system do we have? What are the mechanisms we have to put in place? At what time or what range will the referral be done? And the receiving system within the facility, what mechanism do we have? So let's look at that. Very important. I am a little bit worried that we're not able to present the conditions. If the eye departments are here, if you go back, check your data on refractional errors. Very, very key. You see, refractional errors data are always projected to be seen as if they are conditions. When you're not technical know-how, they are not only conditions. Refractional errors, what is it? It's only the inability of the eye to focus on an object accurately or properly. That is refractional errors. But when you have a client who is astigmatism, or a client who is a cylindrical client, in the terms that this sort of clients have two combination of powers before they can be able to view, and you don't handle them well. For instance, you have a client whose power is minus 050 plus 050, and as is 90. And the professional is doing it minus 050 plus 050 as is 180. It's a refractional error. But this sort of refractional error is a medical error. But we bombard all together and present them as refractional errors. That's why you see our data of acute eye infection rising up. So check your refractional error data very well and then look at that. The last one I wanted to talk of is I wanted to find out the number of days your CT scans reports used to get ready. When you do CT scans, number of days that reports comes out. Then last one, I'm a little bit worried that we all come here and we presented data, but I haven't seen any plan for data. There's nothing on data quality improvement. There's nothing on data validation. There's nothing on systemic, infrastructure. So please, come again on the basis of data, because data is everything. Data. If we don't have a plan for data, then we are doomed. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yehuda from Kolegu Teaching Hospital. Yes, so thank you very much for the presentation. I really enjoyed it, and this is what I was always looking for. You know, I wasn't supposed to be part of this trip, but I told my CEO for Sunyani Days, my second home, so I have to be here, and I'm glad to be part of this special program. Welcome home. Yes, so I just want to make some few comments. I think the first one has to do with the commendation. Because when I noticed that you had 49 specialist nurses, I was so impressed. Because if you're 9 teaching hospital, I think you deserve a round of applause. The second one has to do with a number of policies you've developed within this short period. I'm just wondering the magic you did. Yes, so maybe acting CEO will tell us the magic that his team did to have all these policies. Because even with the old teaching hospitals, I wonder how many of them have 13, policies in all. Yes, so I think we should give a round of applause to ourselves. I noticed something. IGF staff, the support, they are more than the staff on. So I just wondering, where that is coming from. Why should our IGF admin staff be more than GOG admin staff? So maybe that administration would explain that. And yes, hospital has no board. But I've noticed you have board committees. So I'm wondering how those committees are working. Because the HR committee, admin, and finance, the disciplinary, they are all board committees. So I just want to know, maybe acting CEO seek permission from the minister to constitute those committees to be working. And mostly these are board members, and it's just one or two. The CEO is part, and one or two. Most of them is just one director. It's at least admin and finance that usually we find two directors on. So I'm wondering who are the other members of those committees. And my last one has to do with your client satisfaction, because your target is 90%. And for me, a hospital that quality health is our hallmark, I think our satisfaction rate, we should be targeting 100%. Because if our hallmark is quality, and yet we are setting a target for client satisfaction, and our target is 90. So the 10, what happened to the 10? Yes, so I want to know why, we didn't have a target of 100%. Because for me, the target is to satisfy all our clients, and not to leave some out. Maybe you could achieve 90 or maybe 90 plus. Yeah, but the target, both your staff, because I noticed the client and the staff is all 90%. And I don't think you want to have a portion of your staff who are not satisfied. Because your target is to get everybody satisfied. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. This is my first time here at this program, but I enjoyed the presentation that I sat in. I just want to commend the hospital for a very vibrant social media presence. It will do wonders for all the beautiful things that you are doing across the hospital. So we need to attend your mind to that. And secondly, I actually sympathize with the situation of the energy supply in the hospital. We equally have challenges with energy supply in our hospital, that is good. But what we have decided to do is to vary the energy mix. We are now rolling out solar power systems in several parts of the hospital. So I'm sure.
Thank you all for your insightful contributions, comments, and questions. You take the answers now.
A lot of questions for the son of man to answer. Okay, let me quickly look at some of them. Kolebu, we will consult you for. We will learn from you. So maybe after the program, I will meet you personally. I mean, you are part of the whole teaching hospital agenda. And I remember you told us that copying is allowed. But when you are copying, you have to look at your setting as well. So with the policies, we were already in the system before the teaching hospital came in. So when we were with the Ghana Health Service, as a regional hospital, there were some policies that we took into consideration out of Ghana Health Service. And then internally too, we came up with some of our policies, like the orientation policy, like the guideline for managing the PSA plans, the lesson from teaching hospitals, and we looked at our context to come out with those policies. And I also indicated clearly that they are in draft. So we want the board to be set, and then maybe these policies should be approved. But then as a teaching hospital, we need something to work with. Then on the committees, as for disciplinary committee, we already have that committee. Though we don't have the board, we cannot say we should wait for the board to come before we deal with disciplinary issues. So it is a committee that has been in existence for long. So that's that. And then the satisfaction survey, in fact, from experience, we want to tread slowly. In fact, it is our wish that all patients that come to the hospital are satisfied. They come with expectations. And it is our wish that these expectations will be met or exceeded. That is why it is reflecting in our mission that we want to exceed the expectations. So we'll be happy and then maybe look at our target again. Instead of 90%, we will lift it up to 100% to see how it will go. Then on the data, because of time, I had to skip a lot of my slides. In fact, we have a data validation team, and we have strategies to improve upon their activities. Now, what we want to do is that we want to take 2 officers from each of the sub-BMCs. We put them together to constitute the data validation team. We went to Kolebu last year, and Kolebu is having a very good committee. They call them the peer review committee, and they are looking at data. So when we return, I told my CEO that we have to copy what Kolebu is doing. So we even said it yesterday that just after this performance review, we are going to take officers, 2 from each of the sub-BMCs. We put them together to restructure the data validation team, such that at the end of every month, we will look at the source documents, we will look at what is on the limbs, and see whether they don't vary, so that we can get a very good data. Because data drives all decisions and the others. On the issue of the referral system, I think it's a recommendation, so it's been taken into good faith. And the average length of stay of 5.6% and the bed turnover issue. I mean, it is good that you brought it up. We will look at it and see how the impact on quality healthcare delivery in the hospital. The Whole Teaching Hospital, Director of Finance, in fact, we made a point that we are too ambitious. But the good thing is that when we were ending, you said, but it is doable. So you answered yourself. It is what? Doable. If it is not doable, we will readjust our expectations and look at the targets and all those things. In fact, we did an analysis. We realized that even with the secondary level tariff, as against the teaching hospital, if you're not careful, you are likely to lose. So if you don't have a very strong gatekeeper system, look at your family medicine sub-BMC well, you will lose a lot of money. Because as a teaching hospital, we are expected to be receiving a lot more referrals. So if the referrals are not coming, how do you make money? We have a challenge in the hospital with our family medicine, which we usually call, what's the other name? Polyclinic. We don't have a very strong polyclinic. We have a small space, and it is one of our agenda to look at the polyclinic and see how best we can improve upon the gatekeeper system. And like Chief said, we are also collaborating with Ghana Health Service, such that that collaboration is strengthened. They will know the kind of services we are providing, so they can refer a lot more of their patients to the facility. The 13th month allowance, we have never paid in the hospital. There are conditions. In fact, we had a discussion with the other teaching hospitals. You know, when you want to pay the 13th month allowance, it means that there are a lot of allowances you have to stop paying. At the end of the month, we pay allowances to doctors, to specialists, and the whole lot. So if we want to pay the 13th month allowance, then it means that we have to relook at those allowances. Whether we put all of them together, at the end of the month, we pay that money to you as your 13th month allowance. Because we cannot continue to be paying allowances to specialists, to doctors and others. And at the end of the year, we pay the 13th month allowance. But these were discussions that we had in other teaching hospitals. So there was a discussion between CEO and even the doctors about the 13th month allowance. So we have gone far. It is an issue. If you want to introduce it, just as the dollar has increased to this, and I don't want to review their prices. So auditors even picked the matter up that there's been a lot of delays in the supply of medicines. So there were a lot of factors that brought about the reduction in the medicine availability. But the system has changed, it has improved. In fact, when we present next year, you will see a lot more change in the drug availability. All the others will comment. They were pieces of advice which we have put down. We will look at them and see how best we can go by them. Thank you so much.
Please, any more questions or contribution? Thank you very much for your contribution and questions. We are nearing the end of our program. So I'll now invite Dr. Afia Asare to give us the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Although in absentia, we would want to say a special thank you to the chairman, Professor Nana Safo-Agyeman, who is also the Pro-Vice Chancellor for UNAIR, the MP for Sunyani East, the MC of Sunyani, the Regional Director of Health, Dr. Amokodie, the overlords of the land, Sunyani Mahima, and to our sister institutions who honored our invitation. Thank you to you all. We've taken note of the comments that you have given us, and we look forward to the support which you have also promised us. A big thank you to all the reps from the Regional Health Directorate, Ministry of Health, Municipal Health Directorate, the National Health Insurance, 6 Stars Pharmacy, Pharmanova, the security services, the banks, the nursing training college, the utility providers, and all media houses present. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Internally, we also want to appreciate our very able CEO, Dr. Cardinal Newton, the administrator, Mr. Samuel Doji, the directors, heads of BMCs, and all BMC managers for the good work in fostering the culture of compliance and accountability. We also say thank you to all our unsung heroes, supervisors, in charges, unit heads,